on his day off riding a dirt bike, and now he's on the shelf, until his arm heals. So my question is it, ladies and gentlemen, is it cool for these athletes to be going out here doing these other activities where they are putting themselves at risk and the owners is dropping this money? Now, this is me. If you giving me millions of dollars, as bad as I want to do, ride motorcycles or whatever, if skydiving and all that stuff, I got to protect my money. I know I'm young. I know I feel like I'm invisible, and all that stuff, but I want my money, and I don't want nobody messing with my money. And eventually, and this is already in some of these contracts for these athletes, but eventually, as this stuff keeps happening, this is just going to be a norm. It's going to be a norm of you can't, motorcycles out the question, hang gliding out the question, jumping off cliffs, i.e. Tom Brady, out the question. So I think it's smart. You may not like it, but if I'm giving you that dough, man, you can't be doing all that. You can't be doing all that wild stuff, But shouts out, Rough Buff is back. What up, Rough Buff? He's in the building. So, but we're talking about, should these teams start holding these athletes accountable and start taking their money for, and just making it part of the contract, just 100%. And I don't want to tell anybody, mess with anybody's money. But then at the same time, on the flip side, you messing with my money if I'm an owner, People come to see superstars. So if you're on the shelf and it's not, sports related and folks not coming to the game, well, that's affecting my pockets. And I can't have that. So we'll see what happens, with that. I'm not saying that, it's a cardinal sin, for them to do that, but it's something to think about. It's something to evaluate. It's something, to take serious, because we seen it. Kellen Winslow, that definitely affected his career. Jay Williams, he didn't have a basketball career anymore after that motorcycle accident. Ben Roethlisberger, and these are all motorcycles, but it's other stuff. But Ben Roethlisberger, he riding a motorcycle, and he doesn't have a helmet on. That's always dangerous. And then you just have, these freak stuff. You already got to deal with, Brian Greasy, he slipped and fell, stepped on a dog and fell down the steps. Now, his back is done. Guys making up stuff because they don't want to, lose money. Who was it? Darren McFadden for the Cowboys last year. He didn't get no PT. He wasn't getting no PT anyway because Zeke was balling, but it's just, guys. You gotta, you already got just normal stuff that you gotta look out for. Why are you putting yourself in these predicaments to where you're gonna be, possibly out of some money, possibly out of a lot of money, or possibly out of a career, So careers are over early. You done with your, sports career about 30, 31, 32, maybe, or something like that. And then you can go ahead and do all that other stuff and you still, young enough, to do it. So we're getting real close, to the 9:35 spot. So I'm just waiting on my guests, to call in and we'll get on this NFL draft, that's coming up, tomorrow and some football because it's already kind of gave it away. It's my guest is going to be talking about football. So, it'll be, and JB is back. So this is good, JB. Trust me. You're gonna be excited, because this topic is kind of, dedicated, to you, sir. So we shall see. So we're getting real close to the 9:35 again. This is your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of the Wait a Minute Show. And I am on WSME. And I want to send shouts out to Doug Stewart as well for giving me this opportunity and to let everyone know that not only am I on Wednesdays night, I am on Saturday nights as well. You can go to thewaitaminuteshow.com and view, listen to all previous episodes, but also I do a little bit different. On Saturdays, I broadcast on Facebook Live as well. So you can see me on Facebook Live and you can listen to me on Spreaker. So here's my caller calling in. Hold on. Let me get him in here. And then just like that, I lost him. So we'll get him back here in just a second and we'll, do this guest thing. But again, thewaittaminuteshow.com. You can listen to all previous episodes and live, and then you can go to @thewaittaminuteshow on Facebook.com. That's where you can listen to me as well and see me, as well. So here we go. So I got my caller in right now. Thank you for joining the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give it up for a young man who is very, very, very knowledgeable in the game of football. He has had experiences writing for SB Nation and also Bleacher Report. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest tonight, Mr. Jason Kanno. How are you doing today, Mr. Kanno?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. So we were talking about a few things with the recent signings of AP and now Marshawn just got picked up this afternoon, if you want to say. He passed his physical and everything. So we'll just start there. As far as like, what are your thoughts, on those two signings, picking up those individuals?
Well, the AP signing, to be honest, I didn't see any value in any team signing him for more than maybe a couple million, and that's exactly what the Saints did. But you just look at what was available in the draft and what was already what running backs that probably already signed. The Saints were reaching here. It's simple as that. And the Saints haven't had a whole lot of luck in free agency in the past, anyways. And this is just continuing on with that. AP is an older player who, a power back who's pretty similar to, what the Saints have already. So I'm not sure what exactly they're expecting him to bring that they didn't have already. So I guess good luck to them and signing a somewhat redundant player.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with AP and Mark Ingram is that I think they hoping both guys have injury problems, but if they can limit their carries, maybe two guys will equate to one, and they get through the season with both of them. So, but I get what you're saying. So with the Marshawn thing, I was talking earlier with the guest, and ladies and gentlemen, I have Mr. Jason Kanno again, writer for SB Nation and Bleacher Report, and he covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we got a Tampa Bay Buccaneers in here, Jason. JB Jennings, he loves the Bucks. I don't know if he loves them just as much as you, but he loves the Bucks probably just as much as you because he talks about the Bucks all the time. So I want to make sure I got you on the show because I know he would appreciate that. But with the Marshawn, Lynch thing, so is this a good sign for the Raiders, or is it just like, hey, we just selling tickets?
It's absolutely a good signing for them because you think about the kind of offensive lines that Marshawn Lynch has been playing behind for the past, before he retired. The Seahawks were not exactly known for their offensive line, whereas the Raiders' offensive line, like top 5 in the league. So if you can only imagine the kind of damage he did in Seattle, what he's capable of doing with an offense that already has an amazing air attack, he's going to bring that extra dimension that should put them over the top, not just in their division, but in the conference.
Now, do you think, with Marshawn there, he also maybe give him that I mean, they got Khalil Mack who has that attitude, but, like on offense, it's kind of like, I look at it as that if Marshawn is on offense, Michael Crabtree won't be getting his chain snatched anymore, because he's going to change just the dynamic, of that team. So do you think he'll give him that extra swagger?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't think there's any situation where Marshawn Lynch does not bring like a ridiculous amount of swagger.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, again, my guest tonight, Jason Kanno, previous writer for SB Nation and Bleacher Report. He covered the Tampa Bay Bucks. So thank you for joining me tonight. So we were just talking about that the draft is coming up tomorrow. Everyone is, should be excited, whether, you're just a football fan or a fantasy football fan, so you can get an idea of what you're going to, look for, in the upcoming season. So I want to know, just who are the first quarterback, running back, and wide receiver that will come off the board tomorrow in the draft?
Well, that one's pretty tough to, especially this year, tough to nail down exactly who the first of anybody is gonna go. I think the easiest one of that is probably quarterback. It seems to be the consensus that UNC quarterback Mitch Trubisky is the guy who's going to be, somebody's experiment as a franchise quarterback. He's probably the safest QB available. I mean, obviously, Watson out of Clemson, he's got the credentials, he's got the championship, but Trubisky's got the sort of qualities that I think NFL teams look for in their the franchise quarterback. He's strong arm. He seems pretty accurate, especially when you look at some of the other quarterbacks coming out this year. He's a decent athlete. It really comes down to, this is a really bad year for a team to need a quarterback in the draft. It doesn't get any simpler than that. But Trubisky, he's somebody that you give him enough time, maybe he could develop into something, but I honestly don't see him making a huge impact for any team that drafts him, at least not this year.
Gotcha. So he's going to probably be, a little bit of a project, but, at least if he goes somewhere, at this point, because almost all the roster spots is filled unless, the Jets, do something crazy and trade up to get him. But running backs, let's talk about running backs for a second. Now, I'll give you my choice, and you tell me if I'm smoking anything or not. But I think, Leonard Fournette going, maybe to the Jags at 4 would be maybe ideal and might be the first, running back. So am I on to something, or am I just smoking?
No, I've heard the exact same thing where you look pretty much any mock draft online right now, Jags are slated to pick up Fournette. I don't think that's entirely plausible. I think it's also entirely possible that Christian McCaffrey is the first one to go. And there's a reason for this. NFL has changed a lot in the past 10, 15 years, where it's very much a pass-first league. Running games have taken kind of a backseat. Running backs, if they don't have, the ability to, catch passes out of the backfield, play as a receiver, do some sort of blocking in the backfield, they don't get the kind of playing time that, classic running backs, 20 years ago would have gotten. So McCaffrey kind of fits that mold. He's not that big, but he's got obviously the pass catching down. I mean, he's probably the best receiver in the entire running back class. And then he definitely got the Stanford pedigree. He's been coached up pretty well. I think a team might fall in love with him, might even move up to pick him in the draft. I think, which would be a mistake because trading up for any running back in the first round would be ridiculous. But I think some team will fall in love with him and make him their target.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, like you were just saying, some of the mock drafts, they got him going to Carolina. So he wouldn't be, to me, I look at it, he wouldn't be a workhorse, back, but he would definitely maybe fit, that mold of what Carolina likes to do. They like to, run screen pass or, and stretch, handoffs and everything. So we'll see, but yeah, Christian McCaffrey is definitely somebody that you got to look out for. His family is all athletes. I mean, like everyone, mother, father, aunt, grandfather and all that stuff. So you can't go wrong taking a shot on Christian McCaffrey. Wide receivers. So last year's wide receivers, you had some, like Michael Thomas. We were just talking about him. He went in the second round, but then you had like Laquan Treadwell that went, in the first round and only caught one pass, for the season. So will this be redemption, for the wide receiver?
I don't